Well, welcome back again, and this time it's session 10 of 12 in the Taking the Lead program. And this is all about being a godly model. Now, I trust by this point that you've been having great experiences with a group of guys working through this entire process. But this is going to be a fun session to really go down on because, frankly, it really gets to peeling away the onion a little bit more. Now, I trust you've done your work in reading the book and you've done your work in the study guide. But you remember the text in 1 Thessalonians chapter 2 where Paul and Timothy and Silvanus say, you are witnesses and so is God how devoutly and uprightly and blamelessly we behave toward you believers. Think about that. He said, in essence, we were devout and we were upright and we were blameless. We were committed, devout, we were upright, we were, morally in line. We're blameless before God and you. I mean, think about that. Now, it doesn't mean they're perfect, because they weren't. Paul was very clear about that, but they kept living in the light, as 1 John tells us to do. They were very transparent and open. They were the first to admit when they blew it. Well, this is such a rich portion of the study, and you have so much content both in the book and the study guide. I'm really not going to belabor this point, but I do want to give you one illustration and one point to camp on, and that is one of the best ways you can be a godly model is be the first one to admit that you're wrong. Now, isn't that a strange thing to request? Whether it's with a spouse or whether it's with children or friends or co-workers, you want to have an impact on unbelievers, be the first to admit that you're wrong. Show that kind of humility. I was speaking one time to a group of several thousand in Kuala Lumpur. And by the way, these were Muslims and Sikhs and Hindus, and there are very few Christians in the group. It was a business setting. But I spoke on resolving conflict, and I spoke to this issue of seeking and asking forgiveness, among other things. When I got done, I invited the top leader to come up on stage, and I simply questioned him and said, how does this resolving conflict relate to your organization? And he said in front of everyone, holding a mic while I have my mic, we have a lot of conflict, and frankly, I cause a lot of it. And I said, well, did anything stand out in what I said? He said, yes, this concept of asking for forgiveness. I've never done, and I need to do it right now. I said, right now? He said, yeah. So I said, go for it. So he turned to the guy, another leader in the crowd, and he called his name. He said, Kamal. He said, I need to ask your forgiveness now. Now, I trained him in 4 things to say, and they were, I was wrong to have done this. I'm sorry I did it. I'm going to work hard not to do it again. And then, will you forgive me? And then I told him to shut up after they said, will you forgive me? So he stood up before this guy. He was reading his notes. He said, Kamal, when we started this business, I was wrong to have stolen your people and maligned you. And I'm sorry I did it and caused you to feel embarrassment and shame and hurt. It was so wrong. I'm going to work hard not to do it again. And then he said, Ron, I can't read what the 4th thing is. I said, you just say, will you forgive me and shut up? So he said, will you forgive me and shut up? I said, no, you don't say shut up. I said, you forgive me, then you shut up. And of course, everyone was laughing. But he said, will you forgive me? And then I said to Kamal on the spot, hey, Kamal. I said, it's out on the table. I don't want to put you on the spot, but you're on the spot. I said, will you forgive him? And he stood up and he said, absolutely. And you could tell in an instant the unity of that group come together simply because one leader was enough of in his case, a model, a godly model, to demonstrate humility by being the first one to ask forgiveness. Why don't you try that out as you're demonstrating a godly model in the days to come? Now grapple with that as you go through the lesson. God bless you.